Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Google Plus and to Google Plus Hangouts. My name is David Drummond. I'm a Senior Vice President at Google, and I want to issue a warm welcome to all of you who are watching this on the United Nations YouTube channel. Today we have a great opportunity for a discussion with some young people from many parts of the world, and they'll have an opportunity to discuss, ask questions and discuss some issues with United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, who we are extremely honored and pleased to be joining us today. So we'll have some introductions, and then we're going to get right into some questions and some great discussion. So first, we'd love to have Secretary General, who I see in the Hangout, he's just joined the Hangout, Secretary General Ban Ki-moon. We'd love for you to introduce yourself to the group and to the Hangout. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be with you today.
Hey.
My name is Ban Ki-moon, Secretary General of the United Nations. And thanks to everyone at Google, particularly Senior Vice President David Drummond, I'm able to be connected with all the young leaders around the world. It's a great pleasure to speak with you, young leaders and leaders of tomorrow. I'm a great believer, as you are, in the United Nations. That came when I was a very young boy, when Korea was attacked by North Koreans in 1950. I was merely 7 years old, and I saw the destruction of the war. But at the same time, I saw a strong sense of hope and encouragement from the United Nations. Many people came to our aid to rescue us from the aggression. And while we were on the verge of collapse, we were dramatically rescued. And thereafter, the United Nations has provided us a social, economic development. That's why I'm now here sitting as the Secretary General of the United Nations. We are living in an era of change. The world has big challenges, at the same time, big opportunities. Depending upon how we address these challenges, we can make this world better for all. Great transformations are taking place, but new technologies are now making us things possible. How to use these new technologies, how to be connected with all the people around the world. That is one of my priorities. In that regard, I'm very much happy to speak with the young people like yourselves today. I'm sitting in a room, my room. This is the place where I'm meeting world leaders, particularly during General Assembly, when President, Prime Minister, and Foreign Ministers, when they come. Now this room is open to you. I'm ready to discuss with you. Any questions, any good suggestions? I need some fresh, creative ideas from young people like yourselves. Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you, Mr. Secretary General. So let's see if we can get some fresh ideas from our participants. But first, we'd like to have each of them go ahead and introduce themselves briefly, starting with Paula. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Paula. I'm 23 years old. I'm from Brazil, and I'm a journalist.
Miriam. Miriam, I think you're on mute. Go ahead. Okay, I think we're still unable to hear you, Miriam. Perhaps we can try to take you off mute and go ahead with Nick, and we'll come back to you.
Hi, I'm Nick. I'm 16 years old, and I'm the founder of a technology company called Samli, which recently received investment from the Hong Kong billionaire Li Ka-shing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Judy, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Judy. I'm 29 years old. I work with Youth Agenda, which is an organization that works with young people in Nairobi City.
Natalie.
Hi, my name is Natalie. I'm actually a middle school teacher and a graduate student in history, as well as vice chairperson of an outdoor education foundation.
And you're based where?
Oh, in the United States, in Colorado.
Great. Fadil.
Hi, I'm Fadil Bakir Baka, 27 years old, a Muslim by faith from Colombo, Sri Lanka. I work with young people to encourage positive and active youth participation through volunteering and engaging in societal development. I'm currently serving as a UN volunteer.
Great. Well, thanks. Miriam, do we have you back? No, unfortunately we don't. We'll try to keep working on this, but let's go forward with some questions for the Secretary General. Paula, I think you're first up.
Okay. Hello, Mr. Secretary General. My question is, despite huge efforts by the international community over many years, poverty and inequality remain a big problem for developing and developed countries. Here in Brazil, we have the so-called favelas, the shanty towns around the big cities, and it seems like the government is working up to do anything so we can prepare only for the World Cup in 2014. How can we have real international action to eradicate poverty?
That's a great question, most important question. In fact, in Millennium Development Goals, number one pillar of Millennium Development Goals, MDG, is how to reduce and eradicate, eliminate this hunger. I myself went to see a favela. I know that the Brazilian government has good policies like Bolsa Familia or Fome Zero. This is family allowance or zero hunger. This is in line with the UN's MDG goals. And I also visited Kibera in Kenya. This is the largest slums in Africa, maybe in the world. I was so humbled, so saddened by what I have seen in favela and in Kibera. But at the same time, I saw a great energy and hope among young people. They were united. They were very much committed to do better for their own future. Brazil is in the lead in this sense, in reducing poverty. Former President Lula, he made a great contribution, and current President Dilma Rousseff, she is also very much committed. One good news is that all the countries around the world, led by some good exemplary countries like Brazil, have been making good progress in eliminating this abject poverty and hunger. Recently, the World Bank has announced that we have met the target of Millennium Development Goals number 1 in cutting in half the number of people living in extreme poverty. That is good news, but that means we have still 50% of people living in abject poverty, that we are committed to do that. Millennium Development Goals, which was adopted by the world leaders in 2000 on the occasion of celebrating new millennia, they have adopted the blueprint. Let us reduce this abject poverty, and let us provide good education, primary education at least. But unfortunately still, 67 million people are out of school. Let us empower women. Let us keep this planet Earth environmentally sustainable. Let us address climate change. Let us reduce the number of people who are being affected by HIV/AIDS. These are important goals which we are striving to achieve. The target is 2015. We have less than 3 years left. The scorecards are uneven, depending upon where you are coming from. The countries in sub-Saharan Africa, they are not doing well. But all in all, I believe that if there is a strong political will by the leaders and strong participation by the people like yourselves and business communities, then I think we will be able to meet the target by 2015. Then what will happen after 2015? We are now working on new vision, the post MDG, post-2015. And we will discuss with you. After all, you are going to be the leaders of tomorrow.
Any feedback,
okay, thank
Paula?
you very much.
Great, great. Well, our next question was going to be from Miriam. So Miriam, can you participate yet, or are you still on mute? Okay, well, I'm going to, it looks like you still are, so I'm going to ask your question for you. Miriam it's Miriam Otieno. Miriam is 27 and she lives in Nairobi. She's the youth representative on the National Council of the Kenya Girl Guides Association and has been volunteering with the organization since she was 7 years old. So here's Miriam's question. Mr. Secretary General, rather than just working for women and youth, how do you plan to encourage the UN and member states to work in partnership with women and youth to better involve them in decision-making processes? Hopefully I got that right, Miriam.
One of my 5 action agendas for Secretary General for coming 5 years during my second term is to work with and work for women and young people. I think this is a very important agenda which we all need to work together. In terms of population, there are more women than men among 7 billion people. That means half the sky is held up and supported by women. Therefore, it is only natural, only right that we do at least equal. We give equal chance and opportunities to women, if not more. And we have to do more for young people. I'm leading by example in the United Nations. I have appointed more women envoys than my previous predecessors combined. And we have a lot of women senior advisors who are now working in decision-making positions. What is important at this time is there are many women who are working in minor positions, not the much important positions. But we have to empower women by appointing or electing to National Assembly so that they will be working and sitting in decision-making positions. Recently, the famous economic business magazine Forbes, Fortune, announced that their analysis among Fortune 500, they found that the more women are sitting in the board, those companies make more money, more profits. This is a great assessment. That's what I'm now trying to achieve in a very quick period of time. I'm also speaking to world leaders to follow the examples of the United Nations, which I have been doing. And particularly, we need to have more women in the parliament so that they can really reflect the voices and aspirations and concerns of women so that they can enact and they can reflect in national government policies. This is what the United Nations is going to focus coming 5 years.
Great. Well, let's move to the next question. Nick, you're up.
Hello, Mr. Secretary General. Over the last 6 months, I've been engaged in creating my own company, and I've been fortunate enough to have gained insight into the world of business and global opportunity. Unfortunately, due to the global recession we are continuing to address, youth unemployment seems to be on an increase. Yet technology continues to offer great opportunity for young adults to excel in business and potentially yield employment. In the UK, Education Secretary Michael Gove recently announced the introduction of programming lessons into the UK ICT curriculum to encourage students to create their own software and companies. What is the United Nations doing to help raise awareness in education systems across the world for entrepreneurship related to technology?
I'd like to congratulate you, Nick, for your initiative. You are still very young, but you have established your own initiative to become an entrepreneur. Congratulations for that. Now, unfortunately, we are witnessing a very serious unemployment, youth unemployment. 75 million people are jobless, at least. And in Arab world, coming 1 decade, coming 10 years, they have to provide at least 50 million new jobs for young people to observe and accommodate the new entrants to the society. So we are very much seriously considering how we can meet these expectations and meet the new changing situations. I believe that education is the foundation of everything, particularly for youth. As a Secretary General and as one of the Korean citizens, where Korea has achieved very significant economic development, I am often asked, what's the secret of South Koreans having succeeded in making a socio-economic development? Without any hesitation, I say that's education. Education is the cross-cutting tool and means for not only young people, but even the older generations and any country to be able to make a socio-economic development as well as a political and democratic maturity. This is what I have experienced in my country. I'm just asking and urging the leaders of the world, particularly developing countries, that they should invest more, smart investment in education. At this time, with all these Millennium Development Goals priority focus, we have 60 million young people, young children who are out of school. We have to eliminate this number. We have to provide primary education, minimum primary education to all the people. And I wish you all the best, Nick.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Great. Well, thank you, Mr. Secretary General. Let's move on to the next question, and that'll be asked by Judy in Nairobi.
Thank you, David. Hello, Mr. Secretary General. My question today has a lot to do with Kenya currently and across the world, what the things are going around. We have currently in Kenya suffered a number of terrorist attacks. And my question is focusing around that topic. What are the key steps being taken by the United Nations to reduce misconceptions and discrimination of certain ethnicities while combating terrorism?
I have been making always clear that terrorism, whatever the purposes, whatever the reasons may be, wherever it may be, cannot be justified. Terrorism must be fought, and we have to eliminate this terrorism. United Nations General Assembly has unanimously adopted a resolution. This is a global terrorism strategy, counterterrorism strategy. And we have established a counterterrorism task force. We are working very closely with the Security Council. We are working very closely with all member states. This terrorism should not be seen as only law enforcement or political or security issues. This has a lot of various dimensions where we have to address. Development is one of the areas. When we achieve socio-economic development, when we achieve democratic maturity, that means we are reducing the sources of grievances, which may be turned into sources of terrorism. So we have to invest more in development. We have to try to build more harmonious, more reconciliatory, more cooperative society. So we are trying to have a comprehensive strategy to address this terrorism. This is not only law enforcement or countering terrorism. Therefore, I would really hope that world leaders will have a comprehensive counterterrorism strategy. I appreciate the Kenyan government and many other governments who have been suffering but making a great strategy, and leaders are committed, particularly when it comes to Kenya. You are providing many young women and men to peacekeeping operations, and also particularly in Somalia, in AMISOM, African peacekeeping missions in Somalia. They are fighting this terrorism in Somalia. Therefore, this needs whole international community's support. Terrorism does not respect any nation, does not respect the border, does not respect ethnicities, does not respect religion. Therefore, we have to all be united in countering terrorism.
Very well. Thank you for that. Next question is from Natalie in Colorado in the United States.
Hi, Mr. Secretary General. I am honored and excited to speak with you today. According to your 5-year action agenda, the United Nations intends to use a preventative approach to address human rights violations. How could the UN utilize the power of the internet to help break down barriers to communication in order to promote human rights around the world?
I have put this prevention as one of very important 5 action agendas because I have experienced and I have seen how important that we need to prevent all the crises from happening. Once it happens, you have to mobilize massive resources, whether it be manpower or monetary resources. But when we invest a smart way in prevention, for example, whether it is man-made conflicts, a crisis, or it is a natural disasters. In case of natural disasters, we may not be able to predict or prevent tsunami or earthquake, but by employing technology, by detecting and monitoring, an early warning system will always give enough time for people to evacuate or to people to prepare for that. Or good, correct weather forecast can save many lives and human lives and property damages. This is a very smart way we can invest. That is why United Nations is focusing more on this preventive diplomacy when it comes to regional conflicts. We have launched a global disaster risk reduction strategy worldwide. And I'm asking many governments, they should invest more in making this disaster risk preparedness. For example, a good example is we can find in Bangladesh. 20 years ago, just one cyclone would kill 100,000 people a year. Now, 20 years later these days, the cyclone just kills some thousand people. Of course, some thousand people are too many, but still, we were able to reduce a great number of human losses by making disaster risk preparedness. In man-made disasters like conflicts or war, right, when we employ preventive diplomacy with less money, less time, then we can prevent the bigger war from smaller war becoming a bigger war, and or even grievances and frustrations developing into a regional war. So this is very important policy matters which United Nations is going to focus.
Gotcha.
Well,
Is there time for me to ask a follow-up question?
Sure, go ahead, Natalie.
Well, I'm curious as well with that. How does the United Nations then plan to factor in culturally diverse norms when approaching issues of human rights then?
Now, in addressing terrorism, we must ensure that human rights and human dignity must be protected.
Right.
During the war or conflict, there is a tendency that the human rights may be easily abused and neglected. But United Nations make sure that human rights is a fundamental principle which must be protected. And there is the important principle of accountability. During the war or conflict, the human rights, particularly the marginalized group of people, women and girls, or very poor people, their human rights may be abused.
Right.
Then we always ask for accountability, a due process of pursuing the perpetrators be put on justice. This is very important process which we are now taking. United Nations and international community has established many tribunals seeking this accountability process. International Criminal Court, and we have established many tribunals starting from former Yugoslavia, Rwanda, Cambodia, and Sierra Leone, and Lebanon. Therefore, we have very good mechanisms in terms of protecting and promoting human rights. These human rights, whatever the cases, whatever the circumstances, must be protected.
Great. And, you know, if I may, Mr. Secretary General, I'd like to use my moderator's privilege to ask you a follow-up question. You know, we're here using the power of the internet to express ourselves and to interact all across the world at once. And I wanted to ask you about internet freedom. You know, internet freedom is something that's really cherished here at Google, and you know, we regard that as a human right in today's society. But yet we are concerned sometimes that governments around the world seem to be looking to censor the internet and to restrict citizens' ability to express themselves within their countries and even across borders. And sometimes that's not just the countries you expect, but also many democracies. And so what can you tell us about your views about how to convince the international community and governments to preserve internet freedom for all as a human right?
We are living in an era of global communication. Owing to a great technological development like internet and Twitter, Facebook, and we are benefiting from a Google service today. We are being connected. If we connect this new technology, new communication technology, we can save a huge resource as well as human lives. For example, when earthquake hit Haiti, more than 300,000 people were killed. And United Nations really wanted to help Haitian people. We made our own video to raise awareness of this urgent need for help for Haitian people. It was visited by only 6,000 people when United Nations video was produced on YouTube. Then Linkin Park, the band Linkin Park, they put this into with their music, with the download to donate. Soon, it was visited by 6 million people.
Right.
It's 1,000 times more. That was done instantly, almost. And we were very much grateful to not only Linkin Park band, but we are the beneficiary of this great progress of global communication. Now, with the global communication, everybody can become a monitor, watcher for human rights. Everybody can become a source of very critical information to government or policymakers. We have millions or even billions of people, 6 billion people are using mobile phone these days. Right. Among 7 billion people, there are 6 billion mobile phones are now used by people. So you can use these mobile phones, internet, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, Google service. You can inform your government leaders, business community leaders, United Nations, so that we can swiftly dispatch our monitors, we can send our humanitarian assistance, we can keep and protect human rights of people around the world. That's a great transformation, great benefit for us.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. So let's move on to the question from our final participant, Fadil. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary General, for having us here and discussing issues. My question is, what role is envisioned for young people in deciding the future we want?
Often we say, and people say that often to you, you are the leaders of tomorrow. But I'm saying to you that you have already become leaders of today. I'm Secretary General, and I may be one of the leaders of today, but soon we will have to hand over all these torches to you. You have to prepare yourself to be the leaders of today and tomorrow. Look at what had happened in Arab Spring. It was mainly young people and women who came to the street shouting and demanding their rightful opportunities and rightful choices and places. I think it was quite a legitimate aspiration. Some leaders have listened to your calls, but some leaders have not listened yet. Look at the case in Syria. Still, many people are being killed at this time, even now. More than 9,000 people have been killed. Now, my message to you is that be a global citizen. You may come from United States, Kenya, or Brazil, Sri Lanka, or any place around the world. But this world may be big, but this world has become very small. We are living in a very small world owing to the global communication. We are one family. There is no such a traditional national territorial border. There is no border lines. So look beyond your national borders. Look beyond, reach your vision all throughout the world. It's important that you have a global vision, you share global ideals, and you are committed as a global citizen. That is the way you will be able to carry on the torches, addressing climate changes, food crisis, water scarcity, energy shortages, and gender empowerment, and global health issues. There are millions and millions of people are dying. These days, every 90 seconds, a woman dies from complications of pregnancy and childbirth. Every 1 minute, 60 seconds, a woman is infected HIV/AIDS. This is a totally unacceptable situation. If we are united, if we are committed, like yourselves, using all this global communication, global leadership, that we can eliminate this. United Nations has a great vision, but this great vision cannot be realized without your full participation. Let us work together to shape the future as we want, to realize the world we want. This is our great ideals and hope. That is why we are looking for sustainable development Rio Plus 20 summit meeting in Rio de Janeiro in June. This will be a once in a generation opportunities for us to work together. Government leaders, business communities, youth, women, academics, religious leaders, and philanthropists. You should be united and work together to realize this world we want.
David, I have a follow-up. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Please,
Okay.
go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary General, for your answer. Just to highlight, in Sri Lanka, looking at, obviously you mentioned Rio Plus 20, we have a lot of young people working on Rio Plus 20 in Sri Lanka. Recently, we formed a new movement called Youth for Greener Sri Lanka. Then we have volunteers around the country working for the betterment of Sri Lanka. Then we also have youngsters, part of the MUN movement, so which is encouraging. But my question to you, Secretary General, Mr. Secretary General, is, now, you envision young people's participation in the United Nations system and also in discussion forums like that. Maybe a few privileged individuals who have access to internet. What about the underprivileged youth, people from the grassroots, young people? How do you plan to involve them? Maybe in the youth advisory group that's planned?
United Nations is open to everybody, and particularly we welcome young people. We have established young professional programs. Whoever really wants to work as international civil servant, then you are welcome to apply for that. And United Nations is not looking to only privileged persons. We are not speaking with only rich people, rich country. We try to address all sorts of people, particularly when it comes to people with disabilities, people with some difficulties, with the challenges, a marginalized group of people, women and girls. They receive more focus and attention by the United Nations. We want to reduce these disparities. We want to realize a world of equity. There's a serious problem of equity at this time between rich and poor, between big and small, and between youth and aged group. So all these disparities should be bridged. Therefore, equity and balance and harmony, reconciliations, they are all important mottos which we are trying to promote and achieve.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Great. Well, with that, I think we're about out of time, but I wanted to thank all of you for participating in this great discussion. And you know, we are really thrilled at Google to be hosting this. This is only one of the many platforms that we can all use as global citizens to really shrink the world and start talking to each other directly and more intimately. And we think this is just the beginning of what we'll be able to do with technology. So we hope that we'll be able to sync up with all of you again and hope that the United Nations continues to use these platforms to get these great words out so that we can continue to work toward development, peace, and human rights. Mr. Secretary General, thank you so much for joining us today, and we look forward to hosting many more of these. And thanks to all of the participants.
Thank you very much, Mr. David Drummond, and thank you for all of you. Even though we are connected through a computer like this, you are welcome to come to the United Nations so that I can have a dialogue with you in person. And I wish you all the best until then. And
all right,
I really ask for your commitment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary General.
Thanks, everyone. We're going to take you up on that.
Yeah.